Good evening, friends, and welcome to yet another very interesting session with Desh Kapoor. And in today's session, we'll be covering a lot of events, a lot of news, in fact, is that especially with what Rahul Gandhi has made another blunder, and also the fact that Trump, has, set his, he's changing his policies every now and then, and also the fact that is Imran Khan alive or is he dead? So all these topics we'll be discussing in detail in this session. And welcome, Desh. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jadev. Thanks. It's always great to be here.
Yeah. So coming to the first piece of news, Desh, and that is the mystery surrounding Imran Khan, whether he is alive, whether he's dead. Apparently now this mystery around Imran Khan is continuing to grow, and especially with the fact that Imran Khan's sister has moved the Islamabad High Court against the authorities of Adiala jail in Rawalpindi, and she has filed a contempt of court petition against the Adiala jail superintendent and others that she is not allowed to meet Imran Khan, and also the fact that the security is so high that around 700 security personnel have been deployed outside the prison where Imran Khan is lodged, and they say that he is in very good, healthy condition. Now, my question is, if he is in such a very good, healthy condition, why can't they release some CCTV footage or proof that he is healthy? Is the question.
Right. I totally agree with that. And I think, Imran Khan has become a lightning rod for all the forces that are fighting the Pakistani army, or in better words, they are the war criminals. Actually, I don't, consider them as army people, because I don't think anybody who does those kinds of crimes, war crimes that the so-called Pakistani army has done, they should even be considered to be equal of any other person who has, worn the uniform. But, these people have been trying to do so many things in Pakistan now. And we saw how a couple of years back, the entire PTI group had gone and attacked the army, headquarters, also army area as well. And then there was this whole inquisition for them, against them as well. So Imran, the Pakistani army is really, really afraid of Imran Khan, because he can, his image can take down a lot of things within Pakistan, because people can do almost the same thing that they did in Bangladesh against Sheikh Hasina. They can be aroused to do the same thing in Pakistan. And I think that is what they are most afraid of. And they tried to do it earlier. They can still do it. All they need to do is go and walk into Rawalpindi as well as Islamabad. So the Pakistani authorities, especially the army, is really, really afraid. And through multiple sources, it is coming out that this guy Imran Khan is dead already. So when Noreen Niazi actually does that, came out and talked about that, that's the reason why she's doing that. So we have to understand from Noreen's standpoint and from the Imran Khan party PTI standpoint, this may not be a legal issue, right? It is being presented as a legal issue, but it is more of a political amplifier, right? It's a political issue, because what this does is it creates a domestic sympathy for the entire PTI cadre, that they are protesting, and that is why they are being targeted. So there is a narrative of uncertainty that is being played up, and And there would be a human rights angle to all this as well, right? Because death in custody and all those things like that is being like put together, and then this creates a lot of pressure on the PMLN, the Nawaz Sharif party, like Pakistani Muslim League. So uh, so this is actually a fight between the civil the civil society versus the military power. And the thing is, in the history of Pakistan, the civil society has not been able to fight the military power at all. Imran Khan was the first person who actually made this happen. Before that, always the civil authority has always bowed down to the Pakistani military, and Pakistani military has been able to do whatever the heck they wanted to do, and even now that's what they're trying to do. But there is a sizable population which is so disenamored by the Pakistani military that they can actually go and attack the Pakistani military as well, which has never happened in Pakistan's history. So, right now the thing is, the fight is that who actually controls the narrative like within Pakistan. So that's a fight between PTI and the rest, and then there is a street energy also. There is a street power that is there, that is being controlled by the PTI. So they want to take that away, and then it's the optics in the eyes of the West, because that's what really decides what kind of money comes to Pakistan. So those things are there, and then there is how to actually get the army to stand down on this. So that is why Noreen Niazi is kind of building out in a way, she's building out the victim optics also, right? It may not be legal, but it is very powerful, very useful. And PTI, if you really go out and look at all the things that are going on in the Pakistani community in the US, you'll see that the PTI is the most vocal of all the groups. They are the ones, whenever anybody comes here or whenever the Pakistani community comes together for anything, for any of the events, it is always PTI versus the rest. So PTI has become, its folks have become very, very strong and very powerful, and they have become very vocal even outside Pakistan. So there is a strong a street power that they have, and there is the optics that they give out to the world, and they are the ones who actually go out and talk to a lot of people within the US and the Western capitals. So in that sense, I think it's a very powerful thing that they're trying to do.
Yeah, so is he going to end up like Zulfikar Bhutto, who was sentenced to death, if you remember back then?
Right. If he dies, he will die a very quiet death. It won't be hanging like Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, because Bhutto's following was not as rabid, as strong, as powerful as Imran Khan's is. Imran Khan is a different thing. Imran Khan, brings out all the romanticism of Pakistan, within Pakistan, of all the things that actually were right, in their eyes, right? Winning the World Cup, being flashy, being so confident, overconfident, being arrogant, all those things that they actually admire, within their own community, was personified by Imran Khan. And he was a great figure, at least in sports he was one of the greatest that Pakistan has ever produced. So in that sense, I think he's much more powerful in terms of street power than Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was ever in Pakistan. So he may not be publicly hanged or killed, but he could very well be killed behind the scenes in a quiet way, like very, uh, like a lonely death.
Yeah. So Pakistan has had a history of assassinations, right? We had Benazir Bhutto also. She was assassinated. When
Right,
in the car, a guy shot
right,
with a pistol,
right,
if you remember.
right,
So anything can happen, right? Like because it has been how many days since we have seen Imran Khan out in the public. So why is so many security people being deployed? 700. That is not a joke, right? For one man sitting
right.
outside the jail.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That these guys have very strong street power, and the army is really, really afraid what they can do if they get to attack or be aggressive. So that is why it is unprecedented the way they are trying to hide and they are trying to control this situation. Like this thing has never happened. Attack on Pakistani army had never happened, no matter who was killed. Imran Khan, when he was put behind the bars, bars, there was an attack on the army, cantonment area. That was not a joke. Those kind of things would never happen in Pakistan earlier. They happened because of Imran Khan, and Imran Khan is much completely different ball game than the Bhuttos ever were, because they were always used to fall in line. Imran Khan never fell in line with the Pakistani army. He had his own mind. He wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. So, so that is why it won't be easy for Pakistani army to handle this. That is why if they have to kill him, they have to kill him in a very, very quiet manner, like in a way that it does not even come out for many months, and later on it trickles out. Because otherwise, like his people, his followers are very, very strong-headed in this manner. So, so if it comes out that he's actually killed, it can, very well create a situation where his own people, I mean, Pakistan's own people from PTI will do a full-fledged attack on Pakistani army itself. And we have seen those kind of things, right? There was once an attack on the naval area, and they had actually blown up a couple of planes from there. So, so these guys can have a big impact on, and like they can do a lot of damage also to the whole thing, and especially with the Afghanistan's, like attacks coming in or the aggression coming in. This could, spell complete doom for the Pakistani army, because, and more because the Northwest Frontier Province, the Pashtuns, is exactly what Pakistan, like Imran Khan's party, represents. So there is a strong correlation between like what Imran Khan does, Imran Khan's party does, and the Afghanistan, Pashtun population itself. So, so this is not going well for Pakistani army at all, because on one side is Afghanistan with its strong Pakhtunistan, mindset, and they want that to come together. They are extremely angry with all that Pakistan is trying to do, and on the other hand, internally also, it's a Pathan, Imran Khan and his party and people associated with him who are actually raising the temperature. So it's so in a way it is like quite correlated.
Yeah, also the 27th amendment of the Pakistani constitution, which makes
Right.
Asim Munir the Pakistan's first chief of defense forces. So he controls the army, air force, and the navy. So this is. Do you see any correlation between Imran Khan and this? Suddenly he wants to become control everything.
Yeah, I think it's related to a couple of things, right? Like one was actually during the Operation Sindoor, like it was that Air Force officer or chief who suddenly became the talk of the town. How handsome he is, what kind of things he says, how articulate he is, and all those things that he was trying to say. And suddenly he was the one who stole the entire thunder, and not Asim Munir. So, so one, and I think he kind of like put Asim Munir down as well in like a couple of cases, from whatever I've heard. So Asim Munir wanted to actually take over the whole thing, so that there is absolutely no ambiguity as to who is the leader of the entire armed forces. And second is, he believes that by concentrating power in him, he can actually take care of a lot of things. So his mindset, his way of working is no different than Ayub Khan or Ziaul Haq or Musharraf or Yahya Khan. They all have the same mindset, that like we can control the entire place, and we are smart enough to actually beat India. And even though we don't have a whole lot of arms and all those things, we can still go out and beat India, because Indians are very weak. That is their mindset all the time. Whether it was 1948, 1965, 1971, Kargil, every time they had this assumption, like this presumption, and that's when they actually came in. 1965, when they planned the attack, their idea was that we'll go in. In fact, all the Pakistani army people will carry two guns, because one gun will be given to the Indians, like in Kashmir, and they will fight. The Indian Muslims will fight against the Indian army. So let's carry one more gun also. That was their mindset. And when they came into India, they were beaten so badly, and their own analysts are keep on asking whenever there is any discussion around this, which kind of idiot would have come up with this kind of plan. But that is how they always plan. So they really think that they can actually do all these things, and they have that megalomania, that we are larger than life. So that is the same situation with Munir as well, because he really thinks he is larger than life, and he can do what nobody else has done. He can go out and beat India. He can go out and control Pakistan. He can go out and do whatever the heck he wants. Balochistan, he'll kill everyone. Because after all, Operation Searchlight was also like thought about like this as well, right? That we'll go out and destroy, like finish off all the Bengalis, and then we'll rule over there, like they won't be able to go away from us. Well, we all know what happened. And this so whenever these kind of people come in within Pakistan and start asserting themselves the way Munir is doing, you can be rest assured that something really terrible is going to happen in Pakistan.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and watch as to
Because
how
this is an
things
act
progress.
of fear. This is an act of fear. This is not an act of confidence, right? Like he's fearing something over which he has no control. If he had control, and if he was if he had all the confidence of being actually what he thinks he is, he would never ever do create this kind of situation where like he becomes a field marshal, he becomes everything, he becomes a CDS and everything else. Like this actually is a clear mindset of a very weak and kind of like a losing person.
Yeah, so I guess if they continue to not answer about or show Imran Khan at least to the Pakistani public, then the Pakistani people will come out on the streets. It's just a matter of time. Do you see that happening?
Yeah, absolutely. Because see, the thing is, there is no more powerful instrument and tool than rumor. In this kind of whole situation, all you need is one rumor. You don't even need actual things to happen. You need one rumor, which is uh, yeah, coming from a place which is strong enough, big enough, and all those things, and it goes on, and then it catches fire. So a lot of things can happen, and they are actually playing with fire right now, Pakistani army, because they have no idea what they are trying to do. Because a rumor there about Imran Khan's death, not even real death, can actually create havoc. So yes, like if they continue to do whatever they are doing for any long, then I do believe that at some point, even the Afghanistan people will start, kind of like pushing these guys to take up arms. So I won't be very surprised.
Yeah. So coming to the next topic, Desh, and apparently Rahul Gandhi has made another funny incident is that in the defamation case against him, a CD submitted as a key evidence was found to be blank when played before a Pune MP MLA special court on Thursday, and he's facing trial for the defamation against the great Vinayak Savarkar, V. Savarkar, during a speech at an event in London. And the case was being heard by Magistrate Amol Shinde. The complaint was filed by Savarkar's grandnephew Satyaki Savarkar, who claimed that Gandhi made derogatory remarks against V.V. Savarkar. So this is another funny thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really strange that the way this has happened, right? Because the CD suddenly disappeared. I mean, like suddenly became blank, despite the fact that that same CD was earlier on had been played, and like they had all seen that video. And this magistrate Shinde, who was hearing the defamation case, he even declined to have additional CDs or play the YouTube, video of the same thing. And sadly, I think our laws and our courts are so behind on all these things. Like it was like, this is not aligned to the Evidence Act, really. So you can't play the YouTube video at all because that is not evidence enough of the actual speech. And somebody just takes away or like blanks the whole CD, even though that has been played earlier in front of a judge. So something is off. Somebody needs to actually order a judicial probe, like about how this actually CD, went blank and mysteriously. So that's one aspect of it. Um, and like they'll keep on playing up the fact that, well, the CD was blank and all those things, but we know what the reality was, that it was not blank. Earlier on, it has been played before the courts, and then like it has come here and it has come out to be blank. Unfortunately, the magistrate is not acting very professionally in this case, because like that's what they are trying to do. The other part is of V. Savarkar himself. See, these guys have tried to paint V. Savarkar as some kind of a negative figure and all those things. One of their pet, stories is that actually V. Savarkar was the one who created the two-nation theory. Now, the fact is that when the Hindu-Urdu controversy, the Hindi-Urdu controversy was going on in 1867 in Banaras, that is when the Sayyid Ahmad Khan, the guy who created the Aligarh Muslim University, he was a guy who actually like made the statement like about all this, about having two different like nations as Muslims and Hindus, and that's a fact. And then he reiterated it again, and uh, you know, uh, like he actually made a second speech in 1883. So the fact is that, and uh, you know, the strange thing is that Veer like Savarkar was actually born much later. I think he was born in 1870s or something like that. So to say that Veer Savarkar ever said all these things or like wanted a two nation theory is bullshit, because that is like not how it works. So Veer Savarkar actually talked about the two nation theory in 1937 after Muhammad Iqbal had already talked about that in 1930. What he was saying was, from whatever I have understood, is that if that is what they want, and that is how serious they are, there is no way we can turn this back. Then we have to go by the fact that the Muslim League wants a two nation, and then yes, and the way they are behaving, yes, the Hindus and Muslims now are two nations, two different nations. So it was an acknowledgement of um their bigotry, which had reached a fanatic level. So that's what it was. So Veer Savarkar has been maligned by Rahul Gandhi earlier as well. Like RSS has been maligned by Rahul Gandhi, and he has actually had to say sorry, for that case. So he's an old offender. That's what he keeps doing. So it's very sad, like what's going on, and like I just hope that someone actually nails it, because these guys have been talking a lot of nonsense about Veer Savarkar, and that needs to stop.
Yeah, also, Desh, another very important point is that a Delhi court on today, deferred the order on cognizance of the ED charge sheet filed in the National Herald case. So that has been, postponed to December 16th. So meanwhile, this is also going on, the National Herald case.
Right. And they're trying to like push it as much as they can, and they get all kinds of lawyers to do their bidding. But it can go on only till a certain point, right? After all, that entire scam has been done by National Herald, and this guy will be behind the bars, sooner or later. And like I think from the BJP standpoint, it is like good that he's still out and he can do all the damage to Congress that he keeps doing. So so BJP is not in a hurry. His lawyers are not in a hurry, but the nation needs to have him, face the justice, which he hasn't. So at some point, this case needs to end, and end in a way that actually takes him to book, right? Because otherwise, like these guys have left no stone unturned to loot the money from the Indian taxpayers, which they always have. So I hope that somebody gets to nail him in the courts. Right now, it's not happening, but at some point, he can't. He like there won't be enough runway for him to keep running like this the way he's doing.
Yeah, also, Congress is losing power everywhere. In fact, they lost very badly in the Bihar election, as we know.
Right.
And now in Karnataka, there's the fight between DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah. And, it looks like Siddaramaiah doesn't want to give up his seat, because the understanding was after 2.5 years, DK will become the chief minister. But now, they have gone to Delhi, and they have been, talking to the media, and they said that we will listen to the high command, and that is Sonia and Rahul Gandhi, and yet no decision has been taken up till now.
Right. And this formula power sharing, first of all, should be, extremely suspicious for every voter. I don't know how or why the Karnataka voters actually voted for these idiots, but like somebody should have seen through this. And now, they are doing unity press briefings and all that, like all that kind of stuff. That is all damage control optics, which is not going to fool anyone, is not going to fool even their own followers. And, unfortunately, or like fortunately for the country and unfortunately for Congress, what has happened is that their central leadership is not that smart or not that interested also. Right? Their course reduces, they think that if we can have both of these guys fighting, then we can control. So that's how they think, because is just an ATM for them, for the Gandhis. So Karnataka will keep on earning, and they'll keep on, taking that money and doing their own stuff. DK Shiv Kumar has a very strong organizational, fundraising kind of strength, whereas Siddharamaiah has Lingayat and Vokaliga and those kind of like areas, like where he has strength. Both of these leaders are not like a standout, winner. Like none of them. So they really need that, the veto power from the central, office, or the, the Gandhi family. So that's what they are trying to do. So they want to preserve Congress influence in the South. They want to control the state power without showing a faction break. And they want to keep both of these people dependent on Delhi itself, on the Gandhi family. So they want to retain the they want to retain Karnataka as a ATM, as a money giving machine, while they want to keep them dependent on the Gandhi family. And those two people are weak in one way, area, and strong in the other, and none of them is a clear winner. That's what is creating all this problem. If Congress leadership was a little more visionary, or like at least little, had a little bit of vision, they would have known that they need a clear winner here to actually have any power for Congress going forward. This way, Congress will actually disappear within Karnataka in the next 2 or 3 years. Because fighting the way they are fighting, they can't succeed for very long.
Yeah, also the fact that, Basavaraj Bommai, who was the former BJP Karnataka chief minister, he hinted at a no confidence motion if this tussle continues in the assembly. So my question is, okay, if this goes on, the BJP goes for a no confidence motion in the assembly, but who is there in BJP Karnataka, who can, govern, or who can be the CM face? Is there such a leader? Is my question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Unfortunately, there is none. And that is where BJP is very weak, because there are certain states where BJP really needed a very strong leader, and BJP really has none. Himachal is one, Delhi is another, Karnataka is one. So these are the states where BJP really needed a very strong person, and they really couldn't find. Even Rekha Gupta in Delhi, is not that strong a face, or not that strong a CM also. They won because of Modi ji, but they are not, and because of the anti-incumbency with AAP. but they are not that strong a face. And the same is a problem with Karnataka. Even if they win on Modi ji's face and his charisma, who is really there to actually take over the charge? There doesn't seem to be any. And like right now, this is a time for any of the BJP karyakartas to, or the RSS and BJP karyakartas to actually come up and stake a claim, because like this is one state, and even Bengal, like which really need some strong person to stand up. There is nobody there, and that is the only reason why Congress actually has succeeded.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, West Bengal needs a lot of planning because the election is next year, and they need to plan as to how to implement the SIR, and and have peaceful voting process for the people in Bengal, where they're not being threatened by the Mamta's party, for voting to a particular party as such. So those conditions and security should be ensured before the election.
Right, I agree, and I think that is where the center is right now found wanting. Even the SIR, when it is going on, the BLOs are being put in actually the TMC offices, and that's where the whole process they are being forced to do. And even the forms have come out, which have been tutored or tailored by the TMC folks. So there is a lot of issue that is out there, and TMC is basically a gunda raj, and it needs to stop. And like you can't stop it unless and until there is a very strong power to uh, to stop their all these things that they try to do, and especially beat up anyone who actually doesn't vote for TMC, who votes for BJP, or anyone who talks about BJP or Hinduism or anything like that. So there needs to be a very, very strong power to actually go out and create conditions which are fair and just and peaceful before the elections can happen. And I strongly believe, I think a lot of people now strongly believe that president's rule is the only way out. But for some reason, Modi ji just doesn't want to go there. And like, I don't know how long will this continue, this whole thing, but somebody needs to take charge there. And again, the leadership there in Bengal is also very weak. There is no real strong leader. So I think that is why they are facing so much of issues, because Bengal has been known as a place where they had very charismatic people. People with a lot of charisma. Netaji was there. Swami Vivekanand was there. They are leaders who inspired so many. And unfortunately, for last so many years, all you got were just devils. Whether it was Jyoti Basu or like other people who sold India, people who just compromised India completely, who went out and completely ran the entire West Bengal, their economy, their industry, their society, right into the ground. They were the most industrialized states, and look like where they are now. When actually Mamata Banerjee took over from the communists, at that time people were very happy that okay, the communist rule is gone. And I still remember writing in my on Drishtikon that the party may have changed, but the rule is not going to change, because Mamata Banerjee also has that same mindset that the communists have. She has won in the same way. She created her own goon army and all those things. She was just following on the footsteps of what the communists were doing, and she continued that. It's just the party changed, and until and unless that way of politics within Bengal changes, things are never going to change for the Bengalis. I just think that the entire society has been so desensitized about all these things, that people don't even realize what has happened to them. Because you like talk to any Bengali, who lives in Bengal, and they won't even think anything has gone wrong. you know, like I was doing my research, I remember about the Direct Action Day. So I went to look at the archives of Amrit Bazar Patrika because that was the main, newspaper at that time. So I read through all the like every day's newspaper from, I think, somewhere in June to somewhere in September. So a Direct Action Day happened on the 16th. If you didn't know that the Direct Action Day has happened, except for those few days of August, you would have not realized that it actually happened based on the news. I mean, people were, before that Direct Action Day happened, people were behaving as if everything was normal. The whole state was going to go for a toss. And they were going to go for a partition like within a year. And like even before partition, they were going to go through such a massacre that is unprecedented. 40,000 people died in a matter of 2 to 3 days. That is not a joke. Yet, you read the newspapers and you feel that everything was hunky-dory within Bengal. And that's exactly how it is right now. The press, the media has no inkling. People, the intelligentsia has no inkling of where Bengal is today and what can exactly happen within a matter of next 6 to 12 months. That is how sad it is. So unless and until actually the Indian establishment takes charge and makes sure that Bengal is aligned to India very, very strongly, India might have a lot of problems in that chicken's neck.
Yeah. So now coming to the last story, Desh's last point is that Trump has escalated his hardline immigration rhetoric by announcing a sweeping suspension on migration from third world countries following the fatal shooting of two National Guard members near the White House. And the incident has been termed as an act of terror. And so he has not, categorically said that the third world countries, could include, India. So, what do you have to say about this?
See, it's a very there are multiple layers to this story, right? One is obviously about what he's trying to say, that like he's going to suspend all the immigration from third world countries. Especially, he's going to review the green cards also from people who are there, and like he is like really talking about Afghanistan, Pakistan, and such countries. So in a way, he has termed this as an act of terror, like you just said, and they are going ahead giving that national security justification for the suspension of migration from certain countries. They haven't specified which countries. So there is a strong one public sentiment against folks coming from the Islamic countries, or at least the developing countries. That's what he's using for all this. And he's linking migration to terror logistics. That's the basic narrative, because like migration creates the terrorism argument. Like that's what his argument is. So in a way, that may be a very strong kind of a sell that he is trying to make, especially to his MAGA group. So that helps him. The other thing is there are now reports which say actually this guy, I think Ramanullah
Lakanwal,
Lakanwal, and that's the guy. He actually had links with ISI. He fought along with the US Army within Afghanistan against Taliban. But in the last few months, he has had links and connections with the ISI. That's what the report is coming out. So if he had links with the ISI, then it becomes a wider issue, because what that means is Pakistan's ISI, by showing that an Afghan killed a White House National Guard, would try to push US to get involved in Afghanistan versus Pakistan. So they are portraying Afghans as a bad people, whereas it is the ISI which may have instigated this whole thing. So there is a multiple set of layers working here, because everyone is trying to milk this whole thing, this event or this incident, in a different way. So we have to be, really be aware of what they're trying to do, because, one, US should not come back to Pakistan, to Afghanistan, although they want to get the Bagram, the airbase. So that is one thing that they really want. Now, can they use this kind of incident to create kind of an invasion of Afghanistan like they had done earlier, to get Bagram? Maybe they can. But, will that be successful going forward? I don't know. So Pakistan is trying to play its own games, whereas Trump has started the rhetoric of, migration is equal to terrorism, which can have wider implications, not just for a few countries. So, I don't know if you have seen that or not. In Canada, Khalistani's actions are actually creating a lot of consternation with the Canadians, the white Canadians. And what they are trying to say, on Twitter, it's all over the place, that they should be sent back to India. Obviously, the Indians say that why should you send them to India when you are the ones who created it? Because they are the ones who created Khalistan. So why should India accept all the dirt from you, when, when you are the ones who created it? So you need to handle it yourself. So this whole migration policy has not always been a very innocent thing. Migration, there are enough people. I met a guy, a kid somewhere. He was doing some catering or whatever, and so he was talking in a very Haryana kind of accent. So I asked him, I said, so how did you come? And he wasn't very educated. He said, through asylum. I said, through asylum? How? What is happening in Haryana that you were eligible for asylum? He said, Modi ji doesn't let us do any protests. I said, really? That was the argument he used to get asylum within the US. And you can't blame him, or you can't blame the lawyers also, because actually the US establishment wanted that thing to happen, because that becomes an evidence of atrocity literature against Modi ji.
When was that? Which year?
Oh, just last year.
So when Biden was in...
when Biden was there, yes. And actually, I read in one of the think tanks report that a lot of people are taking asylum from India because of the persecution by Narendra Modi government, because that is the entire narrative that they use. So migration, the entire immigration, policy and all the stuff that happens is not that innocent. The US establishment, the US intelligence, the US authorities use that to target certain countries. And the same goes for Canada as well. How they have used Khalistan to target India. So they are not innocent. So if the Canadians think that India sent the Khalistanis over there, then they are really mistaken. It's actually Canada who created the Khalistanis themselves. There are enough evidence, documented evidence, that CSIS, which is the Canadian intelligence, had actually seen the two terrorists who were testing out the bomb in one of the forests before they actually went and bombed the Kanishk. And like there is enough evidence. So they knew these are the guys, they are testing out a bomb, they are going to actually place it on the plane. They knew all those things, and still it happened. And when it happened, those entire terrorists, the entire like group of terrorists, they went scot-free. Only one person was arrested, and even he went out like after some years, like 2 or 3 years back. So nothing happened to anyone, and 329 people lost their lives. That is how horrific the record of the Canadians are, like is actually like in this terrorism thing. How they back such people, and they show that nothing is happening. We are a country of rule of law. They are not. And the similar kind of things about immigration is what actually the US establishment also uses. So if they want to stop all that, fantastic. Clean up the immigration policy. Make it such that only the right people come in. Don't let all these folks come in. Fantastic. Great. We'll all support it. But will the US intelligence support it? That's a question that they need to ask.
Yeah, also coming to this guy, Ramanullah Lakanwar, they say that, he was suspected to work with the CIA in Afghanistan at one point of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is how he got the immigration. That is how he got the asylum. When like US came out and he showed that he was working against Taliban along with the CIA and helping CIA within Afghanistan, that's how he got the asylum. And he was one of those few ones who actually got it. Most of the people didn't even get that. And the last few months or few weeks, actually, he has had contacts with the ISI folks. That's what the reports are saying now. So basically, ISI was also grooming him for their own purposes to show that it was actually an Afghan who shot at the White House National Guard when the trigger was pressed by somebody else.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and watch, if US and Pakistan, they think of taking the airbase, the Bagram.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do. They are trying to create a narrative so that US can go back to Afghanistan. So,
yeah.
Good, bad, or whatever it is, I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how things, progress from this point of time. And Desh ji, that was a wonderful session. Thanks for coming again, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Adev.
Yeah. Jai Hind and Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.